Charlie Christian is considered one of the most important and most influential guitar players of all time. He was the first true superstar of the electric guitar, and the way he played totally changed how people thought about the guitar. Even if we never studied one of his solos or don't know much about him, his influence shows up in the way we all play. Reason enough to talk about Charlie Christian today, starting with one of his most iconic licks. Born in 1916, Charlie Christian became famous when he joined the Benny Goodman Sextet in 1939. Back then, most people mistook his guitar for a tenor saxophone. They haven't heard anything like that before. If you listen to some of his live recordings, you can hear the early roots of bebop in his playing. Sadly, his career didn't last long. He died of tuberculosis at just 24. But in that short time, he changed the game forever. Alright, let's break down 3 classic Charlie Christian licks and see what they tell us about the way he played and about the way he thought about melody. My name's Markus. You can find the tabs to this video on my Patreon account, link in the description. Alright, let's start with lick number 1. I play it slowly. Lick number 1 is played over a blues in F. We have the notes of a D minor arpeggio, D, F and A. So the sound is F6. And see how the melody moves. Moves like this chromatically: A, B flat, B and C. So this is a D minor. This is D minor flat 6. D minor 6 and D minor 7, but we can also see it as F6, B flat major, B diminished, and D minor 7, or maybe F6 again. I think he implies a B flat 7 and a B diminished in the second bar, so the chord progression on which he's soloing is F, B flat 7, B diminished, and F7 again. But the band only played F7. This is very typical for Charlie Christian's playing. He only used the downstrokes for this. What do we actually know about Charlie Christian's playing technique? Well, not much, because there's no footage available. But luckily, young Barney Kessel had the great opportunity to spend a weekend with Charlie Christian, and Barney was a pretty good observer, and he told us a few things 40 years later in an interview with the Guitar Player magazine. And this is what he told us. Charlie Christian used a big black triangular pick. Can you see this? This is a Dunlop 207. He held it very tightly between his thumb and index finger, and he rested his second, third and fourth finger very densely on the pickguard. He played almost exclusively 95% downstrokes. Let's make a little test. I play this lick with my normal technique, and then I switch to the approach Barney Kessel told us in his interview. Let's hear the difference. I don't have a pickguard on my guitar, but I think that's not that big of a deal. There's much more power in the way Charlie Christian played, but he came from the acoustic guitar, so he needs to play with that power. It's pretty interesting though, so if you want to sound like Charlie Christian, we need to play like Charlie Christian, although it's very, very hard to do. An old ES-150 might also help, best in the combination with an old EH-150 amp, but we all know the tone is in the fingers. This guitar was built by Carsten Schnorr, a Hamburg luthier. I made a video about this guitar, and it's a little bit like a modern version of an old ES-150, perfect for me and the things I play with my bands. This is lick number 2. I was studying some Charlie Christian solos when I discovered this. There was one specific pattern he played in almost every solo. So I extracted 5 licks from 5 solos and I transposed them all to the key of C just to compare them more easily. Here's what they sound like. He starts with a B half diminished arpeggio, B, A, F, D and B. So this is B minus 7 flat 5. It's kind of a G9 sound here, which was a pretty advanced approach for that time. Wes Montgomery used similar ideas, but that was years later. Then he goes down to the root note, and he changes the position by moving 2 frets to the left. And this is a G7 arpeggio with a 13th. Sometimes he stops with a 9th, which was very modern for that time. Sometimes he filled it up with chromatic. He never changed the direction of the notes, and more important, he never played it exactly the same way twice. He always changed it. He had an extraordinary sense of spontaneously creating numberless versions, numberless variations of the very same pattern. And this intuition was part of his genius. Lick number 3. Charlie Christian was a real blues player. This is one of the reasons why I love him so much. This lick is great because it combines blues with a major triad. Here's how it works. He starts with a minor third, goes back to the root note, the 6th, 5th, and the 4th, minor third, major third, 5th again, then there's a very nice little bend to the blue note, and the minor third, major third again, the 5th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and minor third, major third again, root note, and then he does this very interesting stretch to the F, which is the 6th, goes back to the root note. This stretch to the 6th is typical for the old style. So you can see the whole lick like this. It's basically an A flat major triad. A flat, the root note, C, the major third, E flat, the 5th, and A flat, the root note again. These are the target notes. Now you can fill the space between them up with some passing notes like this, or this. It's not exactly a scale, but it works nicely. He just played with only 3 fingers of his left hand. You can hear him play thousands of variations of this lick in his solos over and over again. If you're curious about Charlie Christian, please check out my other videos about him. I really am a huge fan of Charlie Christian, and I really love his playing so much, and this is why I made this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it making it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.